So this video is about my Nikon D700. This is my newest camera. Ironically, it's the oldest camera I've owned. It's from 2008. It's an old full-frame DSLR. This isn't going to be a technical review. This is purely just going to be kind of singing the praises of this camera and showing you some of the photos I've taken with it over the 3 or 4 months of owning it. So I bought this about 3 or 4 months ago. This is obviously secondhand from eBay. It's got 33,000 or so, maybe more, maybe towards 40,000 now, shutter clicks on it. And I got it for about 250, 260 pounds on eBay. If you look anywhere on YouTube, the D700 is quite a popular camera. Everyone seems to sing its praises, praise the sensor, the images it can take. Sort of almost on par with the Canon 5D Classic. That kind of warm, really pleasing skin tones, lovely colors. I'm not saying they take the same photos, I'm just saying lots of people praise it for the same sort of reasons. Both very different cameras. So I use this primarily for taking photos of my friends when we go climbing to the crag. I take this with me. It's more just to kind of document the days out I have with my friends, going climbing, just having a good time really. I found that a really important thing to do. Rather than just taking photos on my phone, it's nice to actually have a camera capture those moments that maybe a phone camera wouldn't capture so well, or wouldn't be as appreciated or memorable looking back on them. Whereas if I've got a photo from a big camera, they mean far more to me. And those days out with my friends I really enjoy. Yeah, sharing those moments, climbing with them, taking photos of them and sending the photos to them at the end of the day, hearing that they really enjoy seeing the photos and then reposting the photos, etc. It's a lovely feeling. And it's also, I'm really proud of a lot of these photos, and this camera is one of the reasons why. The lenses I use primarily on this camera is the 85 1.8, which is what I've got on now. I also use the Nifty 50 and also the 18 to 35 f3.5 to 4.5. These are all the AFD lens, so technically like the older, cheapest f-mount lenses. I wanted to go for these because I was still unsure about, shelling out lots of money for camera lenses and camera gear, because it's such a large investment. I've worked out from older cameras that I can take some lovely photos and photos that mean a lot to me without spending the earth. And it almost feels like if I spent far more money, if I got a Nikon Z8 or a Z6 II or something with really expensive glass on the front, maybe the photos that I get back wouldn't mean as much to me. I'm not sure if that makes any sense, but it does to me. Using cheap gear, an old camera, cheaper lenses, and getting a lovely image in return makes you feel really good about your photography and the way you capture those moments. Using this camera, it's also inspired me to give wedding photography a go. That's something I've always wanted to get into. It's sort of one of the final steps of photography, doing weddings. It's a big day, you can't miss the shots, etc, etc. And I've been doing some second shooting and having a bit of an experiment with what this camera and what the lenses can do. And I've been so impressed with how well it holds up. The chap I do some of the weddings with, he shoots with two Sony A7 IVs with beautiful glass, 51.2, 70-200, 24-70, 2.8. And I just rock up with my old D700 with an 85 on it, and I'm really chuffed with some of the shots I've got out of it. It brings me on to the low light performance of this camera. The big full frame sensor with its low 12 megapixel count handles high ISO really well. I think some of the photos that I'll put up were shot at 2000 ISO, up to 2000 ISO. Some with a little bit of denoise, others without. But I've had no issues with noise, with high ISO. Coming from a Micro Four Thirds system, where if you bump it to 2000, it gets really noisy. The high ISO performance on this camera is just great. I shot a gig recently at a pub, and I was up to 4000 ISO, just to get the shutter speed to around 1/100th of a second. I was always wide open at f1.8. I thought, these images are going to be terrible. Get them home onto my computer, they're going to be awful. I can bring up the shadows and bring up the exposure, put on a little bit of denoise, and some of the images just came out, clear as day. I'm shooting at 4000 ISO. I mean, maybe in modern camera terms, because I don't own a modern camera, 4000 is nothing. I know these cameras can go up to 25,000, 100,000, whatnot. But coming from somewhere where you wouldn't really want to push past 800, shooting a 4,000 is like pretty good. And yeah, shooting at weddings and stuff, you've got to push the ISO in a dark room. So and this does amazing, it does great. What else have I got? Autofocus, brilliant. I always shoot single point because then I can focus, recompose, etc. If I'm doing, you know, candids at a wedding or something, I can focus on one person in a crowd and it will just lock straight on that person. As long as I've got that center autofocus point on that person, it's just like a magnet. It's amazing. I've never really missed a shot on single point. If you flip to continuous, it's going to be a little different. It is an older camera, and continuous autofocus has advanced in technology ridiculous amounts. It's never going to keep up with the new Sonys or the new Canons. You know, you track a bird in flight or something, this is probably not going to be amazing. But for couples walking down the aisle, confetti shots, flip it to continuous, fire away, and for the most part, you're going to be locked on. Unless they're moving, running down the aisle, maybe you might miss a couple shots. The single point for sure is ridiculously good. And I don't really shoot fast moving subjects. I'm not a wildlife photographer, I'm not a car photographer or a sports photographer really. I shoot climbers, I shoot my friends, I occasionally shoot at weddings, you know, this and that. What else we got? Battery. So I shot at a wedding recently and I must have taken maybe 800, 1,000 photos. I've still got over 50% of my battery left, single battery. I remember shooting on mirrorless cameras with tiny little batteries, you know, you'd record video for 20 minutes and you'd almost need to be changing out your battery. You could take a couple hundred shots and again you'd have to change your battery. I get a battery grip for this, which would give you like 2,500 shots or something, which is ridiculous. So battery life is second to none on this. It's awesome. I think the main thing is the camera has inspired me to try new areas of photography, like the weddings. Done a little bit of real estate photography with it as well. Because I'm so happy with the images, it inspired me to try and do something with photography. You know, I'm still a bit of a beginner. Having the confidence in a camera and confidence in the photos you can take with that camera is really inspiring, and it's given me a lot of food for thought and some different avenues that I'd like to try and experiment with and go down. This camera owes me nothing, but I think I owe it quite a lot. It's just a beautiful camera and I'm so glad that I own it, and I'm not going to be selling it anytime soon.